Hey everybody, Green Films Official here, and welcome to the annual Halloween special. Today I am joined by a special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself, Dylan?
You just...
Well, you can say something. You can say something about yourself.
I'm just a guy.
Yeah. Just a guy who wanted to be in the Halloween special. Well, more specifically the Mothman video that I've now made the Halloween special because it's that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyways, I'm gonna give some background on myself, to kick off this video. So I've been really into cryptids since I was a little kid. I think it was just part of my general interest in the strange and unknown. I used to drag my dad out into the woods to find Bigfoot and film it.
I didn't know that little tidbit.
Yeah, well, I did tell you before that I was gonna have drop some Jacob Green lore in the video. What else? I would have discussions with friends at school about the Loch Ness Monster. Not whether.
I mean, you did talk to me about what you thought was a CIA accidental email in year 7.
But what was I gonna say?
You're just talking about
in Loch Ness
about Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah. In primary school, me and a mate would we discussed Loch Ness Monster, not whether or not Loch Ness existed. We were going into the conversation already assuming Loch Ness existed, and it was less. Oh, does Loch Ness exist? As more, what is Loch Ness Monster? And our theory was it was a Lyrapillar. I forget what they're called.
Plesiosaurus.
Yeah, Plesiosaurus. I always said Lyrapillar.
The more common accepted.
Yeah, Plesiosaur. Yeah, we believed it was a Plesiosaur. Maybe a Plesiosaur survived the extinction event and was passing down. But yeah, one of my favorite cryptids for a long time has been Mothman. I'd like to say I'm pretty educated on the Mothman.
I'd argue it's still your favorite, considering the movie.
Yeah. I do quite like Me Bigfoot. The Mothman's more interesting and mysterious there. Anyways,
Mothman raises more questions.
Yeah, but yeah, Mothman lore, I guess, and the true happenings around that. I'd like to say I'm pretty educated in that regard. I've read up a lot about it. Watched a lot of mini documentaries.
Most of my knowledge of Mothman comes from word of mouth. I don't do any research into any of that unless it comes up on YouTube through other means. So I have my own little theories of behavior, as we'll see later on. But other than that, nothing.
But yeah, it is a really fascinating thing though, because it's all these townsfolk in this brief period in time, and just seeing this winged form
seeing
around
the
house.
Winged form, seeing weird occurrences,
bright red eyes glowing in the dark,
or a person that is there when they're halfway across the state.
Yeah. The point is that I'm trying to get at is I love cryptids and I love Mothman specifically, and I think part of why I love cryptids is we're gonna get more into this in the video, but I like to believe I don't think Bigfoot and all of that is real. I used to as a little kid. But I don't anymore. But that's not really what I like, why I love cryptids. I more so like to see cryptids as personifications of the mysteries of our world. Things we don't understand, or undiscovered species, who knows what's out there.
Or as thought earlier, just things that we can't control.
Yeah.
Just finding a reason for things.
Yeah. And I don't think we don't think, both of us collectively, we don't think any movie captures this about cryptids better than Mark Pellington's 2002 psychological, supernatural, horror thriller mystery drama, The Mothman Prophecies.
It's a long-ass title. I just can't. I have no words for commendation. It's great.
Yeah. It's super well edited. It's incredibly atmospheric. It's really well acted. Did I mention the cinematography is beautiful?
Not.
But yeah, these sparkling beautiful lights like blurring.
The transition from scene to scene by using
Yeah.
The lights, the use of mirrored images very frequently in the transitions as well. Like it will transition from the hospital to to I can't remember which location, the office, and it's fully mirrored through that transition. You've got the shape of what could be Mothman. Like it's dropping like a lot of hints.
Yeah. And you barely see Mothman.
Exactly.
He's so mysterious. And even when he is on screen, like, details are hidden by his, like, dark, shadowed.
If you think about it, he could be on screen at any point in the movie.
Yeah,
like, he could be on screen the entire movie.
Yeah.
It's just never revealed if that was or was not him. Like, the movie does a little self-aware, like, poke at, like, hey, maybe this person was Indrid Cold or Mothman. Those like will be used interchangeably.
The doctor and the...
Yeah, the doctor.
She was drawing angels.
Yeah, she knew she was going to die.
Yeah.
Like, it does a little self-aware jab at that, where that it could or could not be Indrid Cold.
Yeah. Because Indrid Cold that's its own urban legend, but then they've sort of blended the two.
Urban legend, but from what I've seen through videos and heard, it is largely and commonly like seen with Mothman, so they're just sort of seen together a lot or seen as similar enough.
They are
that
typically
in the movie they are interchangeable.
Yeah, they are typically associated with each other, Mothman and Indrid Cold. They're sort of implied to be the same entity in this film.
Yes, which I would assume is the pretense the film was written with.
But I think a big part of what makes this movie for me is the town itself, Point Pleasant, in West Virginia, I believe. Because the thing about, like, cryptids tend to be, like, bound to particular places. Like, that's why they're urban legends, like you said.
Yeah, it's like an urban legend. They're seen around a particular area, like a lot. Like, it was seen a lot close to the incident as well, like the real life incident. And with a small town, people know each other. People will spread around that story, and it might, like, fuck, I don't know how to explain it. I lost it.
No, I kind of get what you're getting at there. A part of what I really like is you feel like you know a large portion of the town by the end of the movie. Like, it does mainly focus on, like, the Smallwood family and John Klein and Connie. Actually, just throwing that out there, spoilers for the movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it if you haven't. Actually, I'll probably just put a thing at the start.
Edit it into the start. Use a...
But yeah, but like it does mostly focus on John Klein and Connie and the Smallwoods, but like there are recurring characters. Like there's a lady they interview at one point who I'm pretty sure shows up again.
Yeah. There's the Lovers Lane couple. You see them like really close to the end as well.
Yeah.
Though at the end, their
like,
particular end is rather ambiguous.
Yeah, like but the point being, like, they're like these recurring side characters. It's like there is that sense of small town community that comes together and I guess almost sort of forms this legend of Mothman. Yeah.
And yeah, it also like adds weight to it when said characters have not been known to be crazy or like on drugs or anything. Like they know, okay, this guy's usually stand up. He doesn't live off of junk food and shit. He's not the town's weird guy. It brings up that point in the film where it goes, rather than being the town speed freaks that are talking about those aspects, they say it's like the churchgoers or the honest people who are making the reports of it.
Yeah, definitely. You see this small town and its residents, they're like ravaged by these disturbing visions that they don't quite understand, and how that sort of comes to leave the lasting impact that is Mothman on
I
the
mean,
town.
it begins out with just like visions of weird things. Like it goes, the visions go nowhere in the start of it. Connie mentions her dream where
she's floating in the water,
floating in the water, and that it just mentions that and doesn't say there was any outcome or anything. Same with the Gordon seeing John at his door 3 times in a row at the exact same time, asking the exact same thing, like each day. But John's only been there once and asked those questions, and that was the final time. And then later on, Gordon actually hears something, and a few hours later or the next day on the news, it's happened.
It's sort of I'd say part of the horror aspect of Mothman Prophecies for me isn't that, oh, there's a spooky moth creature flying around.
It doesn't come from the jump scares. It
no.
comes from the knowledge of it.
Yeah, it's like disasters are gonna happen, and people are going to die. People are gonna get hurt. It's just part of life. There are forces beyond our control, and if we try to control them, we just look crazy.
You either look insane trying to prevent something that nobody believes will happen, or you're trying to prevent the wrong thing. It's just there's no way around it when it does happen.
But yeah, and that's kind of what Mothman is to me, like not just in this film, but just Mothman as a concept. He's like, intentionally or not, he is the manifestation of what did I say? I wrote this down because I was proud of this point. Let me pull up my notes real quick.
Manifestation of the fear that we have of like things we can't control or can't
how
prevent.
Uncontrollable our world is. Like as I said, disasters are going to happen and there's nothing we can do about it. There are forces beyond our control that can and will hurt us if we are caught in the wrong place at the wrong time without reason or logic, because there is no reason behind, well, there is like a reason, like a cause for like a tsunami, but like there's no like deeper, like profound meaning behind it.
There's no malice behind, we're gonna kill these people in particular.
It's just an earthquake that causes a big wave. Like it's just, and we are helpless to prevent, like to go against Earth's forces.
In the movie, like a lot of people have the idea that Mothman is either good or bad.
Yeah,
but it's a world-winning phrase here. It's really just deeper than that.
Yeah.
It's rather than being good or bad, as the movie points out later on, which I don't think many people pay attention to.
Yeah.
It says there's a window washer up on a building who can probably see a car crash happen halfway across the city. But he can't do anything about it. He sees it, but he's not God. He's not going to be able to do anything. And I feel like that's what the Mothman prophecy stuff is.
Yeah.
Along with like what the people who see the prophecies are. Like, they're not going to be able to do anything to prevent the incident. But they know it's happened or going to happen.
But I think Leek even says that their motivations aren't human. Like, the Mothman's motivations isn't human. So it's not like he even can or, like, will act out of malice, because it's just not in his nature.
You cannot
beyond. He's like a transcendental being beyond that.
You can't attribute human terms to them.
Like he will sort of behave in a human way, like when he's mocking John over the phone, but like that's less because he like views human. Well, maybe it is that maybe it is that he views humans as lesser to an extent, but it's more to get on John's level, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I'm putting that in the best words.
There is like that whole thing of he tries to make a deal with John where if he goes back to
his
like,
house
and stays there, he'll be with his wife again.
Yeah.
Rather than like going back to Point Pleasant where he was brought in the first place by the very same entity.
It's like
it's more of a test.
Yeah,
rather
it's
than
like
trying to get him away from it.
It's like Mothman is like observing him like an ant in a cage, seeing what he'll do, or like I forget what it was, but I think there was like a test done on like rats where they were given like 2 buttons to press or something. It's sort of something like that, but for humans, I guess. I don't know. Am I making sense?
Kind of. So yeah, it's not like he's purposefully trying to get John away from there to stop him from doing anything.
Yeah, it's like
it's trying to see, okay, will he go for the option of wanting to be with his deceased wife again, or will he go back to where he was brought to for a greater purpose?
What will he do? Yeah. Which he then fulfills as foreshadowed by Connie's dream, where he says, "Wake up, number 37," because she's 37.
Well, it's not it's not confirmed. He says it. It's not like she says that she hears that, and it's sort of like in her dream you can't really see anyone around her. She says she's dying, so I feel like
you see the lights from the cars coming from the bottom of the ocean, though. Well, not the ocean, but you know.
You see the cars at the bottom. You see the presence at the top.
Well, you don't see the cars, but like the lights.
Yeah, you see the lights. And I feel like okay, that's what would have happened, because that would have happened if John hadn't come. But that sort of goes against the whole idea of okay, well, you can't prevent the prophecies. It's not, but it's not preventing the prophecy. It's going okay. This tragedy is going to happen, but the aftermath of that isn't predetermined. It's not going to be like it's a loose definition of okay, she's going to drown in the water. She almost does, but John comes in and saves her last minute, and that stops her from being 37 and turns it to 36.
Yeah, I love like the way this film uses imagery to convey ideas. Like I think you said the poster for this movie is like one of those like tests they do where you look at it. We were
going to Google the name.
Yeah. But you know, like where you look at it and it's like, what does this mean to you? It fits perfectly with like the constantly shifting form of Mothman or Injured Cold, whatever you want to call him, because he says when John Klein asks him, "What do you look like?" It's depends on who's looking.
Yeah, it's like depends on who's looking. It depends on who's looking to determine what those ink splotches mean.
Yeah. What are those tests called?
I don't. Don't ask me.
We're gonna look this up real quick. But like even like it's obviously camera can't really see it too well. But even that kind of that shape looks a bit mothy, so it's like perfect.
You could just edit a picture in.
Yeah, I probably could. But like but you know, like it's such a genius image to use a Rorschach test for like a creature whose like perception and like down to the way they look is always changing.
Yeah. Always shifting. It's never consistent.
Yeah, but the film does a great job at like really giving this abstract being almost a presence. Like these gorgeous like flowing POV shots over the town or even like directly behind cameras. Like it feels like the POV of Mothman.
Yeah. Like it's super shaky, it's super curvy, like it's never,
but yeah, and it's always
not like a straight shot. It's never balanced, it's never continuous one angle. It moves left, it moves right, it moves up and down. It's just like if you're walking normally.
Yeah. Yeah, but especially though, like when it's flying over the town, I feel like
Yeah.
it's like there's like constant like shots where it's like looking directly down on the town, the camera's like moving, like that can't
Even,
just be
turns,
like it doesn't like you like it puts this image of your head of Mothman like roaming around the town, like observing us. Like there's almost sort of that especially since like we're clearly like much lower beings than Mothman, it's almost like that ants on a hill sort of imagery, except where the ants on the hill, if that makes sense.
Yeah, again back to the window washer seeing the car crash. It's
Yeah.
like, he's an observer. He's not one to actually be physically interfering.
But he gives us signs of things, like he lets us know things are happening and why we don't know, because as Leek says, his motivations are beyond human reason. But I think like
as you've noted, we're not allowed to know.
Yeah, we're not allowed to know, as he proclaims. But there's also we'll misinterpret their messages, which John does. He hears about great tragedy on the River Ohio, and he thinks it's
the power plant.
Yeah, but it's the bridge.
And it's so
like,
much longer after he assumes it's the power plant.
Yeah. But yeah, I do like detective stories. I like when you're uncovering clues in a mystery. And I think part of what's cool about cryptids is that they're such like inherently like it's like mysterious beings that like there is that investigative element of like you know what like not necessarily what are these things, but like you do have to do some digging, you know, uncover things. You feel like you're learning, and
like it gives you enough hints through like the phone conversations or like the hints it drops where you can try to or even succeed in piecing together what the situation's going to be, what's going to happen.
But yeah, I just think that I don't necessarily think there's any thematic depth necessarily to that, but I just feel like when I'm researching cryptids or just anything like strange, like mysterious happenings online, I know this might sound super corny, but I sort of feel like a detective, and that's part of the appeal of like looking into these things to me.
I mean,
and it's cool
that's
part
of it.
Yeah, that is, and I feel that is part of the plot when they're like going through all the drawings and files, and he's like, John Klein is reading these books. I don't know. This isn't, and I don't think this is like anything thematically deep about this. I just think it's.
I wouldn't say it's strictly the movie. Like you feel that way about anything really. Like if I was to go find a video online about like either something controversial or something like a deep dive into a movie or something, you feel like, especially when they bring along the investigative elements where they're like, so this is the timeline, this is what happens, this is the build up to these events. You feel like you're part of it and in the investigation, finding out along
I think that's part of why ARGs are so popular.
It's why ARGs are popular, because like you're actually able to interact with those with videos. It's like you're going along with the process and piecing it together yourself while also watching them piece it together.
But I think like the main point of why I'm bringing this up, other than to just say, ooh, investigation stuff, cool, is I feel Mothman Prophecies gets it.
Yes.
Like that's a key part of the plot, is this investigation that John and Connie are doing. Like I feel there's a sci-fi original movie called, I think it's just called Mothman. And
I think you told me about
I haven't.
That one. It's not did you say it was like one that you weren't too happy with?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen like trailers and I know what it's all about. And it's like it's just Mothman.
A creature feature.
Yeah, like Mothman is just this monster that like, and I like creature features. Like Jaws, tied with The Shining as my favorite movie ever, is basically a creature feature. So,
but like you can't just turn something that isn't supposed to be, hey, it's coming around the corner to stab you to death with a knife.
Yeah, like it misses the point of why I think Mothman is unique. It takes away the mysticism.
It misses the appeal. It ruins like what the character, the entity is for. Like it's supposed to be like a warning sign. It takes actually interacts with the world.
And it takes away the feeling of investigation and uncovering something new about our world and digging into the unknown.
But that's that's like added on to the fact that it removes the fact that Mothman is a hint dropper rather than a like an active part of the world that's acting on it and doing things in it.
Yeah, but believe it or not, there were a lot of people when Mothman Prophecies came out that were upset with it because it wasn't just a creature feature. Because it's like, why? I don't think they're super... Like, I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm so much educated in there. But, like, I sort of feel like they lack knowledge or understanding of the Mothman mythology, I guess. Or, like the...
Like, it's... Like
I don't know. I don't want to sound like a pompous asshole. Like, oh, you ignorant, uneducated fools.
Yeah, no, but it's like I feel like they definitely missed the point because not every cryptid is supposed to be like no, monsters coming. But
there are cryptids like Bigfoot where it's like it's just a big monkey in the woods, but it sort of maybe has this slight aura of mysticism. Or
it's like mysticism of Bigfoot is it doesn't interact. You see it for a split second, and as soon as it passes by a tree, it's gone.
Yeah, but
it's not supposed to be chasing you.
But then there's cryptids and urban legends like Mothman, where it's this like untangible being who's like beyond our comprehension. It's like a literal sentient piece of the unknown breaching into our world. I don't know, does that sound good? Like
yeah.
And is that a good way of wording it?
I mean, probably better than I could.
Yeah. That's what I get out of Mothman. I feel it's almost like the elements of the world come to life, like some of the darker or more mysterious elements of our world come to life. This sentient being roaming around this little town.
Yeah.
And this impact that it leaves.
Yeah.
Like in real life, Point Pleasant, they have a statue of Mothman in the middle of the town.
Yeah. Like, it's said that they haven't had any sightings of Mothman since the incident, but you can tell it gave such a lasting effect on them by the fact that they have erected a statue in like its likeness.
Yeah, and sure, it probably is just mass hysteria. But that's
could
not
very well be.
But that's not really you could just really go into it and say, oh yeah, well all these people.
It could easily be excused as there's a power plant nearby. It's just the hysteria.
And again, I don't believe in Mothman. I don't think Mothman is a real thing. But that's not why I think the Mothman story is fascinating.
The thing with mass hysteria, the thing about it is it's fascinating when it happens with a lot of people. It's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing either.
Well, it can be bad.
It can be bad.
I don't remember the story exactly, but there was a mass hysteria case relating to Pokemon that caused actual harm. So mass hysteria, I would actually say often it's not a good thing.
More commonly, it isn't a great thing. It is a bad thing, but there is a lot of occasions where it's okay, if a lot of people are getting a bad feeling about something, then that
then there's
goes
a cause
beyond
behind
mass hysteria.
Yeah, but it's again, like I like to say,
if something did actually happen and it reinforces
it was a scary and confusing time for the people of Point Pleasant. There were people who I believe were even seeing Mothman perched on the bridge before it collapsed. So it's yeah, sure, you could say, it was mass hysteria, and that is, I would even say, almost 100% that's what it was.
Yeah, that is a valid, reason.
But it's sort of, but that's not what's fascinating about the story, is that, a bunch of people in this town went crazy for a little while. It's as I like to say, whether intentional or not, Mothman is this manifestation of our inability to control the inevitability of disasters and death.
Yeah.
These are just even though we don't like these things very much, they are a part of our world. They're inseparable.
Just like the disasters, they're inevitable.
And there is a mysterious element to death. Unless you're religious, you don't know where you're gonna go when you die. And again, that goes back to what I was saying about cryptids being a way to characterize or personify the mysteries of our world through physical beings.
You brought up whether or not cryptids are a way of explaining the unexplainable, I mentioned that that is sort of like how they work, because like with typical cultural stuff, like for example the Aboriginal people, they have a reason for why rainbows exist, they have a reason for why mountains are the way they are.
Yeah, like the old Dreamtime stories.
Like the rainbow is a rainbow serpent, so it's sort of like creating creatures for an explanation for something that we are not actively causing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's perfect. I couldn't put it better myself. Even like back when I did integrated humanities in
year 7.
year 7, I would just say I hum, but I don't know if y'all Americans, who I know is most of my audience,
they don't have majority of our classes.
Yeah. So I mean, I know they might have iHum. I haven't looked it up.
I
But
mean, their version of year 7 is also very different as well.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, I remember my iHum teacher said, religion is a way to justify, like, where we came from, because that's one of our big mysteries. Like,
yeah,
how did we
where we came from, where we're going, like.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know how I would start it. It's just. The movie is very difficult to put into words how well it does things, and how profound I find it. I'm sure Jacob might feel the same. Like, it raises a lot of great questions and keeps you asking them throughout the movie.
But that's what makes it great. Again, like, as I said, cryptids are, like, real or not, are inherently mysterious beings. Like,
cryptids
they can't be understood.
Like, originated from the word cryptic, which is sort of like
hard to decipher.
Yeah, hard to decipher. Like, you don't know what it is until, like, you put in the effort to find out. But the thing with cryptids is a lot of the time you can't find out what they are. Like, though in the case of certain things, like for example kangaroos, they were seen as cryptids for a while, thanks for the fact. But now they're just like an ultra common thing.
Yeah, like they're the icon of Australia. Like, that's the first animal people think of. They're
like on
wildlife.
the crests for like Australian courts and shit. But yeah, like some cryptids, they will have like a solution to them. But for things like Mothman, where it's not really a tangible thing that we've been able to gather proof for, other than like suspected cases of mass hysteria.
Yeah, like for something like Bigfoot, like that's just big ape in the woods. Yeah, like, you could say
the thing about Bigfoot is it's seen all over the place.
Yeah,
and
you could say, well, why haven't we found any Bigfoot footprints? Why haven't we found a shit Bigfoot took?
Yeah, it's like you can't find any of those. Mothman it comes up frequently in pictures.
Yeah, Mothman is this being like almost sort of between realms or something. Like, you can't find tangible proof for that. It's like trying to prove God. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's
you
like
can't do that.
It's just, yeah, the movie is just so good.
Yeah, like it captures like the unknown and our like, what am I trying to say here? It captures the unknown and like our inability to like truly uncover the deeper mysteries of our world. Like
I had to convince you to bump it up to a 5-star in Letterboxd.
No.
you were thinking about it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and then I was thinking, well, there's nothing I don't like about this movie.
Like, you were thinking about it throughout the movie, and then you would constantly say, "Oh, I love this movie. This movie's amazing." I had to tell you, just make it 5 stars.
Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who don't follow me on Letterboxd, you can give movies a little heart on Letterboxd, and I use this to indicate my favorite films of all time. And for a while, so I have 4.5 with a heart, which is not quite a 5-star movie, but it's one of my favorites. Still, I had Mothman at 4.5 with a heart for a while, and I was thinking, like, well, at a certain point, like, there's no justification I can give for why this isn't just a 5. Like, there are movies like Godzilla 2014 where it's like there are objective flaws I can point to. Like, Ford Brody isn't a super interesting character. Bryan Cranston deserved more screen time. They kill him way too early. But I would still consider that one of my favorite movies, hence the 4.5. But with Mothman Prophecies, like, I'd really have to be a nitpicking asshole to really think of anything I don't like. Like, oh, they use like 2 stock sound effects in the Point Pleasant bridge collapse scene.
But
Like,
yeah,
whoa.
like even with those stock effects, it's like so early on where it's not overused, like the Wilhelm scream, for example.
Yeah.
And they're blended into the audio so well that it's like you have to be paying attention to know, okay, I've heard that sound in a different movie.
Yeah. Like I think I probably just recognize those sounds simply because I'm a freak and I watch 97 million movies.
You never go outside.
That's the bottom line. The Mothman Prophecies is the greatest cryptid movie ever made because to me and also to Dylan, it captures the essence of what makes cryptids what they are. Like it's the best cryptid movie ever made.
I mean, I'd say it perfectly captures the one cryptid in it.
Well, yeah. But I feel like Mothman, in a way, like he's one of the big boys. Like he's one of the
he's
first...
the big boy. Yeah,
yeah. Like you when you think cryptids, you think your chupacabras, your Bigfoot, your Loch Ness monster, and then you think of Mothman. Yeah. And maybe if you're like a small child, you think Goatman. No shade on Goatman. It's just he's one of the newer ones. But yeah, and I think it captures that feeling of mystery. It captures that feeling of like investigation, finding something new, and this strange, creepy being that represents something unknown to us about our world, and in a way that I think most cryptid movies don't. Like most cryptid movies are just low budget, like straight to video or like straight to Sci-Fi Channel.
It's also
monster
like
movies
really good that it keeps a lot of it unknown, and that's sort of my appeal to it, because like it doesn't answer everything, and you're
barely answers anything at all,
and you're given more questions. So it's sort of like keeping the appeal of, hey, this cryptid is like something we can't explain.
Yeah, it captures also like how cryptids are often like become a small town thing, like an urban legend. Yeah, because a big part of the plot is the town. It's almost like I'd compare it to something like Twin Peaks, where the town is like, well, Twin Peaks takes it a step further. The show is named after the town, but like the town is a character in itself. Like it's like in the same way that something like Gotham City from Batman
the town has its own life.
Yeah, like there's something about it that feels alive. Like it just captures like everything that we feel makes a cryptid like so interesting and fascinating, something we can look at and analyze for ages, and what makes us so interested in urban legends. This film captures all of that and creates, like, I would say, the ultimate cinematic cryptid experience.
Yeah.
Not that there's much competition, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, it's just so great. You can't say anything about it without like stumbling over your words. It's just so good.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for listening to our incoherent ramblings for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Wait, is it 40 minutes?
Yeah, the timeline says 42 minutes.
Holy shit.
I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave a like on this video. All that. I also have an Instagram and a Letterboxd you can check out. Link for those in the description. And also, in case you haven't seen my latest community post, I recently made accounts for Backlogged, Serialized, and Goodreads. So if you have accounts for those, please give me a follow on those as well. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, much like the Instagram and the Letterboxd, link for all of those in the description below. And do you have anything else you want to say or add?
My ADHD is too strong. I can't look at the camera without looking back down.
At us there. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you have a splendid Halloween. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, lovely people. Bye!